Hey everybody, welcome to my very first quick peek, the Heroes Peak quick peek. First one with me here, your host Chris, and your consistent hosts are actually with me here. We got James. How you doing, James?
Perfect attendance, buddy. Perfect attendance.
And Mike. How you doing, Mike?
Hey, I'm good. Hanging in there. Merry Christmas.
And also with us today, a cast member from our most watched video on YouTube, and I think he's drawing in all the ladies. It's Andrew.
I highly doubt that, but thank you. Good to see you guys.
As good as us geese can do, right?
Yeah, right.
So today it's just going to be a quick 15-minute, hopefully 15 minutes, on the last episode of The Mandalorian, season 2.
Yeah, we're a little late with it, but you know,
That's all right.
it's the
That's all right.
holidays, so
The internet's forever. It's really only been like a week.
that's right. Look, as far as everyone knows, we did this in October. So
Dude, there's still reaction views that are out there on YouTube. People pretending to react to it. I'm like,
yeah, I know.
man.
What are you sending us like what 10 a day? I can't. I have to
Yeah.
like fast forward to the end where they're just crying.
yeah,
Yeah.
stop. Yeah, I stopped.
Yeah,
Because I realized
so-
it's all clickbait. They're doing it on purpose.
Well, yeah, they're all the same. Like you watch through it and they go, oh, what? Oh, Luke. Oh, and then at the end, it's oh my god, that was so good.
Yeah, all the reaction videos are just like to watch like grown men cry, right? It's all
That's
grown-
basically
Nah,
it, yeah.
there's some
Yeah,
grown
you know
women
what?
crying
We
too.
do our quick peek on the reaction videos. It's like,
Oh, there you go.
There's some grown women crying too. I've seen a couple.
yeah.
That's good. I get good.
It's funny because tonight, my oldest son and my daughter, who's the youngest, we're doing a hot sauce challenge that my other son bought for them for Christmas,
Yeah.
and they had like no reaction to these ghost pepper sauces and Apollo pepper sauces. And I was like, wait, this isn't like the internet. What's going on? Are my kids broken?
Unless other folks have been faking it the whole time.
No,
too.
actually, I tried. I'm a weakling, and I tried one of the lesser ones, and I was like coughing and hacking. And then my other son's like, "Oh, I'll try it. Yeah, you guys aren't reacting." And he was doing. He's like, "Ah." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So it's just those two are freaks. So I'm trying to get them to make an internet video calling out hot ones for not being as hot as they claim they are.
That's gonna get some traction though. You'd be surprised.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, she's what, 14, and she's like, "Oh yeah, this stuff's great." She's like dumping it on her wings. So, all right. So the actual topic at hand. This is what happens when more than two of us get in a room. The actual topic at hand is going to be Mandalorian season 2, the finale, and I'm not even sure how you guys want to break. Do you want to go right for the hot and saucy topic, or do you want?
Here's what I was
don't
thinking,
wanna,
right?
I don't want to
Speaking
like
of
break
saucy.
down the whole episode because that's
Okay, good.
Let's just do obviously the final episode, the Luke reaction, then get into the show itself, the entire season
Mhm.
2, and then lastly, what's gonna happen in season 3.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
You've heard of this. You've seen this, right? You know what that is.
It is unavoidable. It is your destiny.
Do or do not. There is no try.
Knock that shit off.
I think those three little
for me.
nuggets would be perfect.
Yeah, that's smart. So have you guys, as much as, let's start here. So what was your initial reaction seeing Luke? And before you say that, did you know about it beforehand because of social media spoilers?
Okay.
So
Let's start
Mike,
with-
I'm gonna let you go.
Damn it.
Yeah, so I was hoping, like, I had no clue, right? So they kept it pretty tight. They
Yeah,
did a good
Lucasfilm
job.
did. Mhm.
Yeah, and I had no idea, but once I saw the X-wing, I was like, "Yep, it's Luke." So you know, I didn't have a doubt because who else would be flying in on the X-wing, right? But so part of me was hoping it would have been Ezra instead of Luke right now.
Oh, better than Ezra. Okay.
Ezra from Rebels, right? Because they
Mhm.
hinted at him
Yep.
on the Ahsoka episode.
Mm-hmm.
So I was hoping it would have been him, but that's, you know, it was still fine for me. That was still great to see Luke. I saw a lot of complaints about the CGI. It didn't really bother me that much. Like, what else you gonna do, right?
Mhm.
You know, unless you cast Sebastian Stan, who I'm okay with this 5-minute CGI for now. Like,
How old is Sebastian Stan now? Isn't he like 40?
He's that good 40, like Bruce Willis when he was in his 40s and 50s.
Yeah, but
Still.
not Luke post Return of the Jedi.
Well,
Good, right?
He looks pretty young.
yeah.
I would say.
Yeah, the CGI looked younger than Luke actually did in Return of the Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
It had a better haircut too. Than Luke
Yeah.
in Return of the Jedi.
He looked more like New Hope Luke. Sebastian Stan is 38. Wow.
Oh, he's my
okay.
1982. There you go.
Yeah, August 13,
Well,
1982.
So
yeah.
I guess you could pull that off.
Yeah, Luke was in his young 20s in New Hope, right?
And he was also 6 feet. That would have been a problem. He would have looked too tall.
You're a little tall to be a stormtrooper. All right.
I didn't realize he was that tall. I thought he seems to be short. I guess because when he's acting next to like Chris Helmsworth or whatever.
Next to what's his face? Captain America there.
Chris Evans.
Yeah.
He's really tall, right?
But yeah, you got to remember that Robert Downey Jr. is like my height, so they have him at like all the angles and like lifts and.
Chris Evans is also 6 feet and 1 year older, 39.
Yeah, I think RDJ is like 5'8", 5'7", something like that.
Mm. Yeah. So overall, though, I thought it was a great episode. The hallway scene was great for me when he was walking through and destroying all the what do you call them? The
Dark Troopers.
Dark Troopers, yeah. And I like the fear in Moff Gideon's eyes once he realized who it was. So,
Yeah, he went real quick. He was like, ha, ha, ha. Oh.
yeah. So
All right. I'm gonna let James go, but first we can say Sebastian Stan's hair. He can play me when we get a movie.
He needs glasses and a beard.
That's
Perfect.
it. The
So
Heroes
close.
Peak movie.
The Heroes Peak movie.
All right, James, go ahead.
Yeah,
Story
so
of the podcast that took over the world.
I was actually up pretty late that Thursday night, and right before 3, there was a lot of social media talk. So I decided, disconnect myself.
I tuned it all out. I was like, I'm not even gonna.
And that day, I had to do a couple things for work, so I made sure YouTube wasn't on. Nothing was on my work computer, but there was some snippets here and there of something monumental was happening. I was like, uh-oh. Then I see Mike's freaking text. Oh, man, Mando, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, something really big happened. I think, and like you, Mike, I thought it was Ezra because to me, I had an inkling that he would be revealed, and I was like, it has to be Ezra because everybody's like going crazy.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize it. Even as the X-Wing came through, I was watching it with Eric.
Mm-hmm.
And when they show the camera scene of the Jedi coming through, I was like, this is definitely not Ahsoka. But I don't remember if Ezra color of his saber, what exactly was in the cartoons, and it doesn't matter. But once I saw the green saber in the gloved hand, Eric and I looked at each other automatically. It was like, holy shit. This is Luke. This is gonna be Luke.
Yeah.
And at that point, almost like all the reactions you've seen, my eyes just started getting watery because the music crescendoed.
Right.
And I was like,
I don't know if they played Luke's theme. They probably
they didn't play it until he unveiled the hood. Then
okay.
they played Luke's theme.
Yeah, then they
but
came
throughout it, they're playing the new Ludwig, whatever his name is, the guy who did Black Panther and who did Wonder Woman. He did some stuff in Wonder Woman too.
Okay.
So yeah, my reaction was like, I mean, it was tense. The entire episode I felt was really tense.
Mm-hmm.
I like where they were going. I like the fact, and something that I mentioned, I think online, that I didn't realize that the 4 women that were coming in, that the support fire, as Moff Gideon said, were all women until like my son was like, wow, these women are kicking ass. And I looked around, I was like, oh shit, you're right. It's 4 women. Like it didn't even register in my head because it was so seamless with the plot and script. I was like, some great stuff. The Dark Troopers looked menacing. Everything even before Luke's arrival to me was making that episode, and it was an evolution. Previous episode was better than the previous episode than that. So
yeah. By the way,
don't forget the mask comes off. Grogu, all the little sounds that he was making when he's touching the screen.
Yeah, the fight with Moff Gideon and Mando was great too. I thought. So.
Yeah, the only thing that I thought was too syrupy was when R2-D2 rolled up. Then I was like, okay, now you guys, okay. Now you're just trolling me. Like that's too much.
All right, we gotta let Andrew have a shot here.
Go
yes,
for it.
I mean, obviously everything you guys said, but a couple of things. I throughout the season, as soon as Grogu went on that mountaintop, in my head I was like, it has to be Luke Skywalker because this is the only, apparently after Return of the Jedi, this is the only thing he's doing right now. So it's like if there's a Jedi calling out to him, but then I kept doubting myself. I was like, thought it was Ezra. It was going to be Ezra, and I was like, if they do put Luke in it, they're going to cast someone else. But then like you guys said, when I saw Luke Skywalker, I was surprised and emotional and all that. A couple things that I really like about that scene is that, first off, I like that they have the Mandalorian fight just one of those things, and they emphasize how hard it is for him to he struggles for like a full 5 minutes with just one of those guys, and he barely defeats the thing. And then they have Luke come in and just like they're really showing the difference between the Jedi. And we watched this show, and there's only been 2 Jedi in this show, and you're watching all these fights, and they're really telling us like the Jedi are just like, it's just a whole different level. Like when the Jedi get involved, so
space wizards or
sorcerers. Right. And he didn't even know what a Jedi was for the series, so I really like that. And the other thing is they kind of stuck to, if you look at the way that Luke Skywalker uses a lightsaber.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
They really were. This is why I like this show so much. They pay particular attention to details like that. Luke is not one of the prequel flinging, twirly lightsaber guys.
Correct.
Luke is a two-handed lightsaber guy.
The overhand strikes.
Overhand strikes. A lot of just standing there like a samurai, big wide movements. They seem to really stick with that. So
that's Form 4. Form 4 of 7 of the Jedi on lightsaber.
Yeah. Well, and like I said earlier in the season, the whole pace of the show has been the original serial type pace. Like you're watching, like if you cut the original trilogy down into episodes, you could make it like a television serial, and it would feel at home. And that's what they did. Yes, they added Western to it, like heavy Western, but it definitely had that serial vibe, weekly event kind of thing. So it was great.
Is Favre a Western guy? Like when they interview him,
he looks like a Western. That cowboy.
No.
That's Filoni. Sorry,
Filoni's the Western.
Sorry, Filoni. That's what I meant.
He's got that ridiculous ass.
But one of them's got to be like a Kurosawa fan, or
I think they all have to be. I think if you're really into film like that, you probably have.
Definitely.
I'm gonna guess you probably spent all your time watching all that.
Yeah, Ashoka episode is all like Kurosawa. Heavy.
Well, and even when they had guest Bryce Dallas Howard, when they had guest directors on, they all kept that feel. Like when season 1, her episode was the one where he goes into the little town and they have those marauders coming in at night, stealing their stuff. I mean, that's a classic, Western trope filled episode, but it's right at home with what they were making.
I don't know if whereas Filoni's behind Avatar: Last Airbender.
Yeah, that's where they got him from. He was directing Last Airbender episodes.
Wow. Okay.
The best animated series of all time.
What I hear it's really good.
All right. So for me, unfortunately, it was all spoiled. Because you know what? I didn't watch it that day, but it was midnight, Friday night. I was like, I'm not gonna, or Friday morning, I guess, whatever. I'm like, I'll get to it. And I always go through my Twitter feed, and I can scroll pretty fast, and I see Mandalorians, just keep scrolling, whatever. But then what does Twitter do? Twitter likes to put topics. Hey, these are the top topics. What are people talking about? Mandalorian, whatever. That's not a spoiler to me. Grogu, Mandalorian, Luke Skywalker. I'm like, shit. Any words, any other words, Jedi, any word, X-Wing even, Like all that stuff could have bypassed me, but Luke Skywalker, obviously, I knew what it was going to be. So anyway, so I finally sit down and I watch it, and I'm enjoying the episode. I'm really into it. I love the Mandalorian getting his butt kicked by one of the robots, especially the thing where it's like reminds me of the Iron Hulkbuster armor versus Hulk
And
fight.
Hulk.
Yeah.
Where he's
Oh,
like
sleep,
punches in
sleep,
the head.
sleep, sleep,
Yeah.
sleep, sleep.
He's getting his head
Yeah.
pounded into the
I
wall.
know. This
Right.
guy didn't get a concussion protocol, huh?
And he tries like all his little gadgets. He tries the little
Nothing
missiles, and he tries to shoot it with the flamethrower, everything. And then it's like nothing. Beskar, that's your only option. Beskar blade, baby.
Mhm.
And so, that was cool. And then the fight against the Darksaber was pretty neat, And then you're like, okay, so now we know what level we're at. We're at untrained people, these aren't Jedi, but they're fighting each other,
They have basic combat training,
Right.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of did it 2 episodes ago against Ahsoka when he like shot her with the rope.
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
She like
That's
broke
great.
out of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they were setting the whole thing up the whole time. And so when the X-Wing comes in, I'm like, okay, I know what this is going to be. But what's nice is they were able to do it in a fashion that wasn't like what you've seen. Yes, and we'll have this discussion about the hallway scene trope, but Luke came in my favorite Luke outfit is him walking into Jabba's palace
Mhm.
with that hood. Like, I have such a solid memory of that first time seeing Luke come into Jabba's palace.
You don't like the farmer's outfit when you want to go to Tachi Station? That's my favorite. But go ahead.
The force choke, and he moves the guards.
Mhm.
And he comes over. Like, that's my favorite Luke. Like, favorite Luke. And so, like, it hit me. I knew it was coming. And even, like, my Grinch heart was like, oh, this is so good. I feel it. I didn't cry. That's ridiculous.
Because you knew it was coming. Listen, I'm not saying I cried,
No,
but my
no.
eyes were a little wet. They're a little wet.
No, do you guys remember that first trailer for The Force Awakens?
Yeah.
When Han Solo comes out, it
Yeah.
goes, Chewie,
Chewie,
we're home. That's
Yeah.
it. That's it. That's
Right.
the feeling. It
Mhm.
clicks.
Exactly.
So that was good. It was good,
Yeah.
but
Let's,
it didn't.
let's dig
didn't-
into that hallway scene real
Okay.
quick, since we're still talking about this episode.
So far, it's basically been everybody comparing it to Vader scene in Rogue One.
Mhm.
And I've said this before, I think, on the cast, that the Vader scene in Rogue One is very cool, but very fan service and very unnecessary. Because when you see Vader 10 minutes later fighting Obi-Wan and
Yeah,
like
that's
that,
true.
it kind of breaks it a little bit, and I like it because I've seen it before. But, if let's say you were to show a kid these days, Rogue One would be kind of right up a current preteens alley for what a movie should be. The
Yeah.
original series is a little slower paced and a little less action oriented for all it is.
Mhm.
And so to go from one to the next just feels a little
Okay.
weird.
But let me reinforce this trope that you seem to be resurrecting. Is there's been at least 2 other instances of a hallway scene. If you go back to Empire Strikes Back, when Luke and Vader are doing their battle, and then he's looking for him through that tunnel. And this is after Luke was able to at least damage him a little bit. He's like impressive, whatever. And then when Vader comes out full, like Vader is slicing through and pushing him into where eventually he's going to be in that catwalk.
Mhm.
And it's like that same scene gets resurrected in Force Awakens when Rey touches the saber and she sees that
And
hallway
she
again.
sees the hallway scene, yeah.
But even better than this one is in the prequels between Obi-Wan and Anakin. That last fight before they get to the in the outdoor section, there's a whole hallway scene that they're fighting against each other, and it's like all gymnastics. It's like they're doing all this stuff, and like sabers are flashing, and it's like fireworks everywhere. So it seems like that's been a Star Wars trope for a while, and then that eventually this became something.
Yeah,
where
I mean, don't forget Maul in Clone Wars, right? Like he did it without a lightsaber too.
Yes.
Yeah, which is arguably the most badass of all of them, to be honest.
Yeah, that one actually impressed me the most.
Yeah.
So I noticed. So Luke was using some force powers there. He did a force.
Force crush.
Force crush. Force pull.
Mm-hmm. Force push. All that.
Yeah. All the standard anti-robot moves.
You don't see the crush very often.
Well, he doesn't. He never fights. Think about all the times
You've seen it in the Clone Wars.
He never really fights robots or things.
Exactly.
He's going to crush.
So I imagine he's not wanting to do that to organics.
So Anakin and Mace Windu both used it in Clone Wars at different instances.
Yeah.
I would think the Force choke is a smaller version of that same power.
Probably.
Yeah. So you want to talk about the episode itself as a self-contained episode? Oh, actually, the season. I meant. Sorry, the season. Yeah,
I think we all enjoyed the episode. Of course, one last thing. What was that the most emotional part for you? For me, the most emotional part was Din taking off his helmet to say goodbye to Grogu. I thought that hit. And obviously, the whole season built up to that moment. Two seasons built up to that moment.
Yeah.
And it was still emotionally relevant. Whereas Luke was it hit me in the wherever I was when I was. Yeah, that exactly. But it was cool, but it had no emotional resonance for the story. The emotional resonance for the story came after that.
Right. No, and it was good the way they did it. Like they brought Luke on and then they bring you back and go, right, this is about Mando and Grogu right now, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a good way they did it. So yeah, it was pretty emotional too, right? So like I know a lot of people teared up at that too. That didn't get me like that, but
yeah, my wife was very emotional at that part. I think for me it's 1A and 1B, or like Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen. Michael being the Luke moment, and then Scotty being just as important, but not getting the top billing was that ending. Because
I would flip those two.
The thing is, if he didn't take his mask off in the previous episode with Bill Burr, to me it probably would have resonated to the point where it's just as equivalent to Luke's moment.
Yeah, it's an interesting choice that they did, because when he took it off in the previous episode, as we go now looking at the whole series, because he went all this time without taking it off, and then he takes it off for that, and you're like, oh my god, he took his helmet off and he showed people.
But I will say this though, in that episode with Bill Burr, you could see the frustration and the anger of having to do that, whereas this one,
that's a good point.
It was for Grogu, it was more like, this is me, don't forget me. You know what I mean?
No, my brain is telling me, if you marry those two episodes together, and I think we got to talk about the whole season before Andrew goes, is he did it because he felt he had no choice. And remember Bill Burr's conversation about him, like, what's the real reason? Like, why are you doing this? Does it make a difference? Whatever. So I think between the combination of that episode and Bill Burr's conversation, and then at this moment realizing that Grogu wants to see his face, I think to him that's just him realizing that the mask isn't that important. Right. It's more himself and his characteristics and his connection with other people. Grogu in this situation. So to me, I look at both episodes together. So my brain is stimulated by this, but my heart doesn't get the same, feeling that Chris got from that scene, or my wife has.
Yeah.
It would have been more powerful if that was the actual first time you saw his face, I guess. But I do think that in both cases he's really showing that he's going to do anything for this being Grogu. Like that's the whole thing. Like they set up this character that has all these principles about his religious beliefs and everything, that he refuses to break them. Because even in that episode where he first finally takes off his helmet, think about the lengths he's willing to go through to not take off his helmet in that episode. like the whole plot would have been a lot easier if he would just have was willing to take off his costume. But they really make a point. They drive it in that even for the mission, he can't reveal his face. But then it gets to a point where he starts realizing, like, if I'm gonna save this creature, I'm gonna have to start breaking my own rules, and that's the point. Like he says to Gideon, he goes, this guy means more to me than you'll ever know. Like like all of a sudden he built this connection with with Grogu, and it's great storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't just hit you over the head with it. They really slowly developed that over the 2 seasons. That's why this is some of the best Star Wars storytelling in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah,
really
so
is.
even like going back to what you said, like the previous episode when he sent the holo transmission to Gideon saying basically I'm coming for you.
Right.
Yeah.
Your ass is mine because
Yeah.
and I was like, wow, that's some power.
Do you know that?
Right.
Do you know that was him paraphrasing what Gideon said to him
Mm-hmm.
at the
Oh, right.
was it the end of last season or beginning of this season? Or end of
Right.
last season, I think it was. So
Right,
he it's not the exact same wording, but it is a reflection of what was told to him, and now he's in a position where he says, "No, you're wrong. This guy means more important to me than you'll ever know."
Mm.
So
that, like, talk about emotional charging, like that moment of the end of that episode was, to me, got me. Like, that was great.
yeah,
Like
and that
he
goes
was like,
back
I'm
to the
coming.
storytelling, as you're saying.
Yeah.
Like, you could take a conversation or speech that this guy had in another season, and then throw it back and hit you with it in this season. It's good stuff.
Great.
So, what do you guys feel was the best episode of this story? It can go either of the 2 seasons. What is could be your favorite for a different reason? It could be you think is the best directed or acted, most action-packed. What is your guys' favorite episode?
Here, I'll go first if you don't mind, because that's easy for me. It's got to be the Ahsoka episode because that's the one I had been waiting for. Like, with Luke, was exciting, but we already know, according to canon 789, what happened to Luke. So, but nobody knows what happened to Ahsoka, and it was nice to see, her return and what she's been up to, and what's going on with her now that she's going after Thrawn. And by the way, my theory on that is we'll see Ezra in the Ahsoka show because she's going after Thrawn. And last we left Ezra, he was with Thrawn, right? Okay. So that's where I think we'll see him.
All right. Andrew, do you have a...
I mean, I hate to repeat, but I also think it's the Ahsoka episode. But more about the way it was directed. And it's interesting that Filoni did a couple other episodes, right? And some of the episodes, if I'm not mistaken, that he did were the most criticized in the series. I think one of the episodes he did in season 1 was looked at as one of not such a great episode. But then he did this. Yeah, I don't know exactly which one, but I remember they're splitting hairs like the critics, but it's like if you have to pick an episode that's not that great, I think it was, or underwhelming would be the way to put it.
Right.
But then he comes in. What I like about this is we mentioned it before. It's like the straight up samurai western, like the beginning of the episode. She's facing a castle, and she's like, I'm giving you a day because it's like something like a character out of like Fist of the North Star. Like they're just the most powerful person there, clearly, and they're giving you an ultimatum. Like you're already dead. Like they're pretty much telling you how this is gonna go. Yeah. And then the showdown at the end,
so well done. Filoni directed 3 episodes of Mandalorian. The first episode, chapter 1. Okay. Chapter 5 was the gunslinger.
That's the one. Yeah, and I'll tell you guys why in a second.
Yeah, that's the one. The gunslinger was kind of criticized.
Okay.
I remember why.
Well, I think the first season, a lot of people were like, okay, this is pretty much just going about a weekly fill in the blank adventure series, which I think once I got a handle on that, and you got some more of the good overriding story stuff, it all felt fine. But at first I was like, is this just going to be like, I know exactly what's going to happen at the end of the episode before it starts, just by the way, I've seen a dozen different Westerns. I think that was it was a little predictable, some of this episodes, but which is fine. It's a new universe you're telling that story in, and you're building this up, and it worked out that
So
way.
one thing I really like about this series, though, is it's bringing me new, interesting side characters. For example, the I Have Spoken guy,
Right.
Spoken.
the IG droid that becomes the babysitter,
Right.
the Tatooine, the lady on Tatooine who fixes the ship with the little droids.
Mhm.
These are new, like they're not significant characters, but they're still interesting. They're still well written. So that's what I like too. We're getting like an expanded world.
Universe.
Universe.
Yeah.
And back to our spin-off
Mm-hmm.
stories.
And
Just wait, they'll all have their own series soon.
Well, Disney.
All
That
right.
might that might be a little much that they're doing like
You think?
so many series.
All right, James, what's your favorite episode?
It's funny this topic because I watched a couple days ago another podcast. I'm not going to shut them out, but they did exactly this. And for season 2, the candidates were both Ahsoka, the Jedi episode, the finale, the rescue, the Believer, which was the episode directly prior, the Bill Burr episode, and then the Tragedy, which was the episode where Boba Fett makes his big entrance on top of that mountain at Typhoon. So, and then someone also mentioned that the Jedi, because it really came down to the Jedi and the rescue, which is I'm about to get into, and how Filoni was able to write the Ahsoka episode, but then gave us that Gunslinger episode, which was, been panned by most people. It's the one where that kid becomes a mercenary, and then Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. shows up.
Yeah, it's where you meet. It's where you meet Fennec.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, it wasn't the best episode. It was. It was sort of. I think a lot of people were like, "Are they trying to make like a bad Han Solo or something?"
Yeah, but there wasn't an episode I've hated on this.
Oh no,
Right.
no.
That's why it's like splitting hair. It really is.
It felt like the filler. For the first time, it felt like I was watching a filler episode as opposed to.
Right.
There are a lot of remember the show Lost, right?
Yeah.
I love the show overall, but there were a lot of episodes I was just like, ugh, come on.
Yeah, once you get past season 2, I agree.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's almost entire season. Season 4 was a filler. But
we just started on that ending too. Another
oh man.
quick peek.
So just to answer the question, I think I like the Jedi and I like the rescue. But if I'm splitting hairs, I think I might lean more towards the Jedi, only because, but not to the reasons that you guys are mentioning. I think the rescue itself, taking the Luke part out and taking the ending with Grogu and Mando, I think everything before that really was just like an attack, like Saving Private Ryan. It's like an action sequence, right? It had they had a couple moments here of dialogue, plan of attack, and then there's more action, little tension, more action, and then boom, Luke, right? Which is in itself an action sequence, but it's an action sequence that's really different. But the Jedi episode, it wasn't just all action. It was some exposition on Grogu. You get his name. He survived the temple.
Right.
Still alive, bitch, to Anakin. Ahsoka's story. The Tana she was in. Then the spinoff, the possibility of spinoffs with General Thrawn, Admiral Thrawn. New characters there. It was so much that was happening in that episode that to me, I can't put it in this above the rescue, because the rescue to me was more like a video game sequence that I loved, a great video game to play, but the story wasn't as heavy as Ahsoka's story. If you take away the last 10 minutes, everything that happened before that was just playing a video game that was kick-ass that you loved. But I can't put that as a narrative that will make me feel that this is better than the Jedi episode. So that's my reason why I think the Jedi is better.
Okay.
All right.
I want to give honorable mention to Bill Burr.
Yes.
I think he's the least. He's like Star Wars less than anyone we probably ever met. Right?
He roasted Star Wars for years.
He roasted,
Yeah,
And then
except for Harrison Ford.
Yeah, except for Harrison Ford. That's a good point.
Oh.
But he really did a great job in that episode, and just the character in that episode in general. I just want to throw that out there. Like, Really
All right,
a big fan of his character in that.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you for that setup, Andrew, because my favorite episodes are pretty much equal, and they just happen to both be the Bill Burr episodes. And I just looked it up. They both have the same director, which tells me something.
Who directed those?
Rick Famunyawa?
But you want to try that in English now?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sure I'm screwing up somebody else's name.
Hang on, I'll look it up. What's the episode name? The jailbreak one?
The Prisoner
Prisoner.
And then
in
The
season
Believer.
1, and then The Believer in season 2.
Yeah, that was a top four.
Famuyiwa. Rick Famuyiwa. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, yeah, I'll go with that. He's great.
Any other notable film credits?
So
Yeah, he made. Well, he's a producer as well, but he directed. It looks like a couple episodes of Mandalorian and Dope and Brown Sugar.
Oh, Dope, Brown Sugar.
Yeah.
Aw.
mhm.
Is he African American? I kind of
Yes,
both those movies.
yes.
yes.
Okay.
Okay. So anyway, what I loved about the first one, The Prisoner, was it really had this great, almost alien vibe. Remember when he's running around by himself and he's the monster in the spaceship taking all these guys down?
Yeah.
And I thought that was great. It was a great setup, great action. And the same thing with the Believer. Great action, great setup, great character setup. But I think his use of Bill Burr, and like you were saying, Andrew, Bill Burr pulls something out of this show that no other character does. He's got this great almost hate for the universe he's living in, but against someone like the Mandalorian who's all in on his religion, he's all in on this universe. He's just such like a visual part of Star Wars. And then you have like this space Boston. and he's putting everything down, and he's just like, what's everybody doing? This is all shit. And it's just this amazing the way the interaction works. When they were in that truck and they're driving the explosive stuff.
I love that.
And he's like questioning the Mandalorian on his beliefs and what is going on.
Yeah.
And it's
Great
not like they gave Pedro Pascal a long soliloquy on his religion and on Grogu and on the universe. It was all in simplistic head movements, whether he's looking or not looking, what he's seeing. And they also did that wonderfully, is giving the Mandalorian personality and not making him a Power Ranger. Right?
Right. But Chris, don't forget the fact that Bill Burr's part in that whole dialogue as they're driving on. He say, "Look at these people. Do you think that they care about what's happening? Like they're just another savage villages, whatever." And then the conversation about what's the difference if the Empire falls or not? There's still people that's going to be stuck in the middle of still being poor and all that stuff.
And
it hit the home.
You're going to hate this, but it is actually a very similar conversation to in The Last Jedi to what's his name?
In Cantobite, right?
Yeah, the Cantobite guy, the locksmith or whatever his name was.
Benicio del Toro.
Yeah,
Master Code Breaker.
Yeah, it was. I didn't like his character, but his whole point was the same thing that Bill Burr brought up in a more funny and more interesting way. But he was like, "Hey, look, does it matter? Most of these people don't care." And it's an interesting part of the universe, especially in this down and dirty end of Star Wars of, hey, what's the common man perception of what's going on? And it was a really interesting thing to think about without spending too much time on it.
Yeah. And
Bill Burr by himself, he brings a comedy to look at the crew that went there. It was Fennec. It was Gina Carano's character. It was the Mandalorian.
Boba.
And it was Boba. None of those are like really talkative. None of those are really like, they're exuding a toughness and all that, but not personality, like interaction. And he really centers that conversation and gives it pep and movement. And the director, I loved his use of it.
One last thing, when at the end, when you thought it was over, the guy's about to throw the grenade, and Mandalorian was like, "This is it." Then the TIE fighters come in, and the stormtroopers, yay! And then Bill was like, "You never thought you'd be cheering stormtroopers again?" And I'm like, "Holy shit! I was just cheering them too." Like it hit me for the first time in Star Wars history. I was cheering for the Empire, what's left of the Empire, and he made that comment while watching the episode. I'm like, "Holy crap!" Like great writing.
Yeah, because normally you'd be like, oh yeah, I want those villagers to blow up that facility because that's what I want them to do. But you rooted for killing the villagers.
Well, they were pirates, right? So
yeah, but pirates against the Empire.
Oh no, I know.
You know, that's what Han Solo is.
Well, you don't want them to blow up Mando, right? So
no, but you cheered them getting shot down by TIE fighters. It was a very weird sensation.
It was very conflicting, and I didn't realize it until Bill Burr's character mentioned it. Then it hit me.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's my call.
Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here?
So first off, I see season 3 slated for 2022. Man, that's a long wait.
Oh,
yeah. Well, you know why though, right? You guys know why?
Negative.
Because the Boba Fett is coming out before that. They're already in production right now for Boba Fett.
Oh, okay, good.
And then they're doing storyboarding for season 3.
Oh, okay.
So Boba's coming out first in December, and immediately thereafter, in 2022, season 3 will be released.
So yeah, I think we'll be okay because we also have the slate of Marvel shows coming to Disney Plus. So
right, pretty soon, right? Like
January.
Right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But also, what I think is they only have so much production space, and they're not right now. Like if everything was going full steam and they had the truckload of money coming in every day, they would probably go out and build themselves like 3 more of those sets that they're currently shooting in. I have a feeling there is a sort of like, hey, this set is cool and we're shooting everything in it. Oh, wait, we're shooting Ahsoka in it. We're shooting Mandalorian in it.
And it's probably the same screenwriters and everyone that's involved in each of these too.
Yeah, same group.
Dave Filoni's probably involved. And,
Lucas.
Yeah. So it's probably more of a production group abilities of only so many people to make a great show.
Yeah, but to answer your question, I really have no clue. Like now that Grogu's out of the picture, so are we taking back Mandalore now?
That's what James's idea.
That's what I think.
That's what I think.
That's what they're gearing us to, and we may get to see Sabine. That'd be another great cameo.
Well, Obi-Wan, aren't we getting an Obi-Wan series someday?
Yeah,
but yeah, the whole dark saber thing. I didn't even think about it because I was so worried about Grogu. That
that kind of bugged me that she wouldn't just take that thing back. Like, who the fuck cares?
Right. It was a little. That was a little.
Well, everybody's pointing to it in the animated series where she did take it.
Yeah, but I think they need a plot to drive the 3rd season. I guess this is what they're thinking. So it's too easy just to give it over to her. Then going back to your point, what season 3 gonna be about?
Right.
So I think that's a good take this religious nut who they told him he wasn't a real Mandalorian, and now he's basically their king or whatever. Like so that'll be an interesting back and forth.
It's like Chronicles of Riddick when Riddick killed the Necro King. It's like now this is yours. Keep what you kill.
Right.
Well, I'm glad we were able to keep this to 15 minutes. We did a really good job of that.
Ooh, that was a long 15.
I think that was 15 minutes each.
Probably.
My last comment about Bib Fortuna.
Oh, we didn't talk about the post credit. Oh,
he did not age well.
Yeah. He had like gout in his neck, right, or something like that.
What?
GERD or something. I don't know. He had like
gout in his neck.
He had the insane thing.
He looked like it was. I wonder if it was George Lucas under there with that.
I'll say like I've said about Indiana Jones, just recast. Stop being so precious. Give us more years of more good TV of people who can spend time acting and not worrying about how well the CGI face youthful look is going to work. Like, give me a Sebastian Stan, fine.
Yep.
Or find a kid we've never met before who has a striking similarity but not perfect look. Like, just recast and let us come around to the new actor you've hired. Like, that was my issue with the Luke, is it was like, I am Luke Skywalker. And I know it was Hamill, and I know, but I think the CGI just rips all of the interest out of the face.
It was
I mean, I remember Rogue One, and it was the
Carrie
CGI
Fisher.
Carrie Fisher,
Yeah.
and even the CGI
Grand out Tarkin.
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 And I was like, should have just used the actor under the makeup. Just call him Tarkin.
Yeah, but then they tried doing that, and we got James Earl Jones sounding like a very, very, very old Vader. So pick and choose.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks. This was fun.
Yeah.
That's it.
We'll do
All right,
it.
everyone. Thanks for
Good
watching.
work.
Don't like and subscribe and share.
Hit that button. Hit the button.
Smash that button.
We'll catch you next year. Night, everyone.
Night.